Ladies and gentlemen, if you could just take your seats, we're about to get started. Now, just before we start, the gentleman's toilet is over there, the lady's toilet is over there, and if for some reason we have to evacuate the building, obviously you go out there and we'll assemble in the car park. Now, you know there's something wrong when people cancel an election to ram through a works program and then send you a bill for $1 billion. So tonight, John Robson and myself are going to make the case against the long-term plan, why it must be repealed and replaced to avoid a 164% rate increase. Now, my name is Garth Mathieson. I'm a Mount Maunganui ward candidate in the upcoming Tauranga City Council election. John is a mayoral candidate and a Bethlehem ward candidate in the upcoming election. We've got a smaller crowd than we've had before, but that doesn't matter. We'll give you the whole presentation, and I hope you'll enjoy it. Now, I'm going to discuss the evidence that shows that the Commissioners have been working in the interests of a small group of people, not the general public, in formulating the Tauranga City Council long-term plan. I'll discuss the works program that eventually evolved into a key component of the long-term plan. I'll look at the origin of the works program. Now, the origin is important because it will assist you in understanding who the Commissioners have been working for, and it is not you, the general public, who pay rates. I'll look at the appointment of the Commissioners, and then I'm going to look at the Commissioners' supporters along with the Commissioners who were instrumental in persuading the Minister of Local Government to cancel the 2022 Tauranga City Council election and extend the Commissioners' terms so they could ram through the works program. Now, when I finish, John is going to get up and he's going to talk to you about the consequences, the financial consequences in particular, of the long-term plan. Okay, so the origin or the genesis of the works program, and it's important to understand this so you can understand the motive for the cancellation of the 2022 election. So back in on the 6th of June 2015, an article appeared in the Bay of Plenty Times and was headed up, Amenities Group has its heart in the city. Now, what the Amenities Group was a selection of, or a group of prominent business people in the city who wanted to redevelop the CBD on the Te Papa Peninsula. Now, I have taken out the important parts of that article and put them into a slide. So who was the Civic Amenities Group? Well, they were led by Paul Adams, a prominent developer in this city. The membership of the Civic Amenities Group included Tom Roper of Zariba Holdings, Neil Craig of Craig's Investment Partners, Peter Farmer of Farmer Motor Group, Bill Holland of Holland Beckett, Graham Horsley of Vital Health Care Property, Richard Cashmore of Realty Service, Eves and Bailey's Real Estate, and Michael Smith of Quayside Holdings, Port of Tauranga. Now, what is it that they wanted? Well, they wanted a redevelopment of the Te Papa CBD, and they proposed sports, arts, cultural amenities, and the projects also included a museum and a 15,000 seat stadium at the Tauranga Domain. Pretty much what is happening in the CBD now. Now, cost, and I quote from the newspaper article, "The group's plan will not force an increase in rates," unquote. Alternative funding was to be from government and corporate grants, trust allocations, private bequests, public-private partnerships and civic bond issues. But that funding has never eventuated. What happened? Well, we move on to the 15th of September 2015. And those of you who understand or have a knowledge of military history, you'll know that the 6th of June, the previous article, was D-Day, and the 15th of September 2015 is the Battle of Britain Day. Now, the group's chairman, Paul Adams, reported to the paper that the group had briefed the Tauranga City Council on a package of proposed civic infrastructure projects, including the development of a stadium with the capacity of about 15,000. I quote Mr. Adams, "The Civic Amenities Group has presented a proposal to the elected members and is looking forward to working collaboratively with Tauranga City Council in further costing, then developing, funding and construction of a boutique stadium," end quote. I always wondered when I read the business case for the stadium where this term, the boutique stadium, came from. Now we know. Now the initial estimated cost of the stadium was 25 million. The cost now is $280 million. Now, at the time, the democratically elected council, in my opinion wisely, did not take up this proposal. In 2019 there was an election and the council was elected, and as everybody in the room will know, there were multiple code of conduct complaints, and the council itself appointed a review and observer team to report on the issues and help the council through the problems that they had. Now, the review team found that the council was dysfunctional because there was a breakdown in relationships between the mayor and councillors and other councillors. This only begs the question, why was there a breakdown in key relationships? Now, when you go through the report, there are multiple reasons given, but in my opinion, the answer was because a majority of the councillors did not agree with the work program. And on the 16th of November 2020, the observer team recommended that the Minister of Local Government appoint a Crown Observer to assist the council. Yet just only a week later, for some unknown reason, the observer team announced it had changed its mind and recommended the appointment of commissioners. Now, the commissioners were appointed on the 5th of February 2021 to govern Tauranga from 9 February 2021 until local government elections in October of 2022, and that was gazetted. They had to develop a long-term plan and develop an exit plan. And the exit plan, and subsequently the long-term plan as well, included the works program. The exit plan was dated the 25th of November 2021 and is the first document that I know of where the commissioners asked the government to cancel the 2022 election and extend the term of the commissioners. Now, for those supporters of the commissioners who wanted the works program to go through, there was a problem, and that was time. There was not enough time to get the works program into the long-term plan before the election in October of 2022. There was simply not enough time. So some of them started writing to the Minister of Local Government and asking that the election of 2022 be cancelled and the terms of the commissions extended. And we'll have a look at some of these letters shortly. Now, the first two letters were on the 12th of September 2021, and they were from unknown individuals, despite my best attempts to get the Ombudsman to rule that their names should be released, because I believe the public have a right to know all the names of the people and organisations who are instrumental in taking away your right to vote. The Ombudsman has ruled against me in respect of individuals. So those two individuals' names remain unknown. Now, on the 1st of October 2021, the New Zealand Property Council wrote to the Minister requesting that the 2022 election be cancelled and the term of the Ministers extended. It is very important to note that Scott Adams was the Director of Caris Corporation and at the time President of the Urban Task Force, was a member of the Central Committee of the New Zealand Property Council. And the Central Committee is specifically referred to in this letter. And in fact, this letter from New Zealand Property Council is very, very similar to the letter from the Urban Task Force, which was written on the 4th of October 2021 and sent to the Minister and signed by Scott Adams, who was the President of the Urban Task Force at that time. Then on the 17th of November 2021, Ngā Potikia Kamapahori Trust wrote to the Minister, request extension of the term of the Commissioners and the cancellation of the election. On 23 November 2021, an unknown individual wrote to the Minister. Then on the 25th of November 2021, as I've already mentioned, the exit plan was signed and sent to the Minister. And as far as I'm aware, that's the first document that the Commissioners have asked for the cancellation of the 2022 election. So you can see before the Commissioners asked the Minister, we have 5 individuals and organisations that have done so. Then on the 18th of December 2021, Mary Dillon wrote to the Minister requesting the cancellation of the election. And on 21 December 2021, Social Link wrote to the Minister requesting the cancellation of the 2022 election. Now, before we move on to look at these particular letters, or some of these letters, it's important to remember that these people and organisations are writing to the Minister of Local Government asking for your right to vote in the 2022 election be cancelled and the term of the Commissioners extended so they can ram through a works program that they want you, the public, to pay for. They're advocating for your right to vote to be cancelled. They don't trust you because you might elect the wrong people, and their correspondence says that. Now, I find that absolutely appalling. They don't respect you, the general public. They know what's best for you. They just want your money. So let's have a look now at some of the correspondence. So the first document is, and I've put up this document first, which is the Property Council letter, and you'll see it's dated 1 October 2021. It's signed at the bottom by 2 people. Their names are not clear, but one of them is Leonie Freeman. I'm not sure who the other person is. Now, what I've done is taken the important parts of that letter and put it in to this slide, which I want to read to you. The timing of the appointment prior to the long-term plan 2021-2031 was particularly crucial as Tauranga City Council had to address substantial infrastructure and funding challenges. However, we are concerned that the Council returned to an elected membership in October 2022. There is a risk that the public could prematurely install elected members once again, unable to navigate the intricacies of decades of local underinvestment, thereby likely undoing all the Commissioners' good work to date. Given all the great work and the progress that has been made to date by the Commissioners, we ask you to reappoint the current Commissioners beyond October 2022 for another 3-year term. And this time it is expected that the long-term infrastructure projects, e.g. the Te Papa multimodal corridor, will be well under development. It will help ensure that Tauranga residents are more attuned to the citywide benefits that come with investment in infrastructure and growth. Now, in the meantime, Property Council is committed to the betterment of Tauranga and the Western Bay sub-region and will continue to advocate for growth-related property activities. So what they're saying is that you, the people, cannot be trusted to elect the right people who will support the projects that they want, but they want you, the people, to pay for it. Let's carry on. Now, this is the Urban Task Force letter, again addressed to the Honourable Nania Mahuta, Minister of Local Government. You'll see it's signed by Scott Adams, the President of the Urban Task Force. And it says on an attachment that the Urban Task Force advocates on behalf of local property industry in the Bay of Plenty region. So it's a property advocacy lobby group. Now, I have put the relevant parts of Mr. Adams' letter into a slide, which I will read. and this is important. Firstly, we would like to commend you and Cabinet on your decision to appoint commissioners. The timing of this appointment was critical with respect to the 2021-2031 long-term plan. This is arguably Tauranga City Council's most important LTP ever, with complex and challenging decisions to be made on housing, infrastructure, civil amenity and social funding. The UTF is highly concerned about the pending Commission's transition strategy. We believe there is significant risk that the local body elections in October 2022 could see a quorum of the same ex-councillors re-elected. This group of ex-councillors has continued decades of poor governance, resulting in chronic underinvestment. Well, that's his opinion. Now, we understand that they have strategies to reverse the decisions made by the Commissioners, i.e. rates freezes across their 2022-2024 term. It is our view that the Commissioners need to be reappointed beyond October 2022 and for a full 3-year term. During this term, it is expected that long-term infrastructure projects such as the Te Papa multimodal corridor, together with the opening of land tracks complete with the required trunk infrastructure, will be prevalent in Tauranga, and residents will be more attuned to the citywide benefits derived from infrastructure investment at this more strategic level. As I said before, the letter is very similar to that of the New Zealand Property Council, and the reason for that is Scott Adams. That letter from the New Zealand Property Council was written on his behalf. That is obvious. So Scott Adams is also saying that you, the people, can't be trusted to elect the right people, and therefore your vote should be cancelled. But again, he wants you to pay for the works program. Then we have a letter from Ngā Potiki Tamapahori Trust. From Peter Stokes has signed it. It's a short letter, and again it advocates for the cancellation of the 2022 election and the extension of the Commissioners' terms. Then there's a letter from Mary Dillon. Now Mary Dillon, as you know, or most of you will know, is a former Deputy Mayor of the city and also a long-term councillor. She also advocates for the cancellation of the 2022 election and the extension of the Commissioners' terms. You would think that somebody who had benefited so greatly from the democratic process would have a bit more respect for it than she does. And then there's a letter, or an email I should say, from Social Link. Now, I believe they just must have been tapped on the shoulder to do this. I can't imagine why Social Link would be writing a letter to the Minister of Local Government asking for an election to be cancelled. Now, in addition to those letters, there was also some secret meetings held between the government and business and iwi leaders. But there were allegedly no records kept of who attended. Now, while the Ombudsman accepted this, I did not, and I argued strongly with the Ombudsman about this, but in the end he has accepted that there was no records kept of these secret meetings, the purpose of which was to cancel the 2022 election. Then the Commissioners sent the Minister a public report dated 31 December 2021 requesting that the 2022 election be delayed and held in October 2023, which would allow the significant work programs to be progressed. The significant work programs to be progressed. Now, in fact, the election was not delayed, it was actually cancelled. When we go back into the same election cycle as the rest of the country in 2028, we will always be one election down on what the rest of the country had. Let's have a look at what the Commissioners actually said in their report of 31 December 2021. And I will read part of it. Concerns continue to be raised with us through our community engagement activities about the possibility that dysfunctional governance could again impact the future effectiveness of an elected council. We have assessed the perceived risk of that scenario to Council's work program as defined through the 2021-31 long-term plan, activities and capability, and we believe the risks involved can best be managed by delaying the city's local government elections by 1 year until October 2023 and appointing a Crown Manager to oversee council governance through until the next scheduled local government elections in 2025. Such an approach would allow the significant work programs required to address the city's growth issues in infrastructure and community facility deficits, and the funding and financing arrangements required to support them, to be further progressed. A Crown Manager will also give the community assurance that the decisions they have supported through the last LTP process could not be readily reversed by a factionalised elected council. So, that letter could have been written by, or that document could have been written by Scott Adams, but it was written by the Commissioners, and they could have also written the letter that he wrote. Such is the similarity. So what they are saying also is that you, the people, they want your right to vote to be cancelled just in case you elect the wrong people. But as I said, they want you to pay for everything. Now at this stage, 31st of December 2021, there have been no objections from the public to the cancellation of the 2022 election. Because of course the public doesn't know anything about it. Now, as the matter became public, people began to object to the cancellation of the election, and it became public in early 2022. And there were some people also who were in support of the Commissioners as well. So, the City Council elections, scheduled for 8 October 2022, were cancelled, and the Commissioners' terms were extended. And they were appointed on 21 April 2022 to govern Tauranga from the 22nd of April 2022 until elections now. And that was gazetted. Now this cancellation was done without any prior notice or consultation with you, the people, the ratepayers of the city. Our right to vote was cancelled, but we still have to pay for the work programs the Commissioners and their very group of supporters want. Pay but no say. Taxation without representation. Now I want to draw everything together now by looking at a government document. This sets out the government, the minister's reasons for the cancellation of the election, and you will see that the individuals and the organisations and the commissioners were all instrumental in the cancellation of the election and the reappointment of the commissioners to govern Tauranga. I'll read through these paragraphs, and they're taken from the Department of Internal Affairs briefing for the Honourable Nania Mahuta Exit Plan 11 February 2022, paragraphs 18 to 20. The Commission has analysed its achievements and believes there is a real risk that the work program may be undermined by the return of elected councillors who have historically tended to support conservative rate increases, leading to an inability to fund new growth. In particular, the Commission believes that under a return to elected democracy, a change in strategic direction may jeopardise relationships the Commission has established with public and private funding contributors. This would result in an inability to deliver on planned projects both within Tauranga City and across the wider region. The Department also notes that further intervention through the retention of a Commission is strongly supported by local iwi and business leaders. And I just interrupt there for a moment to say, well, I count one iwi leader and one business leader within the Tauranga region. The Department is aware of a number of ministerials from members of the Tauranga community noting their support for the decision to appoint commissioners and requesting that a commission is retained at the council beyond October 2022. Anecdotally, the Department has also received positive feedback from other individuals, such as Bay of Plenty Regional Council staff and private individuals in the Tauranga community. So, the Minister has brought into the arguments put forward by a handful of people, really, just a handful of people, and cancel an election based on what they want, and taken away your right to vote, but you, as I say, have got to pay for what they want. Now, on the 11th of May 2023, Kieran McAnulty, when he was visiting this city, was interviewed by Sun Live, and he said that, quote, "The decision to appoint the Commission until July 2024 was made following careful consideration of the Commission's exit plan, feedback from business and community leaders." So the point is, all those individuals, and it's not meant to, those few individuals and those few organisations and the commissioners were instrumental in cancelling election. A handful of people and groups. So I want to conclude then by saying the works program. Now that's evolved now from what it was in 2015, and it's become a key component of the city's long-term plan. As you'll be aware, the other 7 geographical wards are actually being robbed of money to fund the development that's going on in the CBD, and John will talk more about that. They've been robbed of the money. There's about $1 billion+ being spent on one ward at the expense of all the other wards. If you look at the main road that runs through the city, which comes off State Highway 2, down State Highway 29, where they join at Tauranga, then they come around to Takitumu Drive, cross the bridge, down Hewlett's Road, turn right into Monganui Road, and then join up with the Southern Expressway. In addition to that, there's a road called Totara Street, which is outside the biggest, most important port in this country. Totara Street has lights that don't work. It has a sinkhole that's never properly fixed. It has flooding. It flooded on Sunday recently when I was driving along it. Fortunately, it was a Sunday because I had to cross right over the other side to get around the flood, down by the Hewlett's Road end. Now, the council were going to put in $291 million on Hewlett's Road and Totara Street upgrade. They've reduced that to $38 million while continuing to prioritise Cameron Road and the CBD. Now, Cameron Road has had, and it's not the most important road in the city now, it's not the most important road in the city at all. And yet that has had a huge sum of money spent on it and to be spent on it. Stage 1 of Cameron Road was originally to cost $40 million and it's now cost $110 million. Stage 2 was to cost $45 million and now it's expected to cost $220 million. So all the point I'm trying to make here, and I've just given you one example, is all the other wards are actually being robbed of money for this works program in the Te Papa CBD. So the 2022 election was cancelled and your right to vote denied, so few people could have their way and ram through a works program which you have to pay for. Now, in my opinion, the evidence and the timeline clearly shows that Ann Tolley and the commissioners have been working for Scott Adams and the Urban Task Force, not you. They certainly have no respect for you. As I've repeatedly said, they need you to pay. On the 19th of April 2024, the Bay of Plenty Times reported Scott Adams saying that the Urban Task Force supported the Commissioner's decision, and it was a secret request to the Minister of Local Government to appoint a Crown Manager to oversee the new council elect in 2024. Mr Adams was quoted as saying it was critical, and I quote, "Voters learn from mistakes and vote in the right people," end quote. Now that's a threat. Who does he think he is? So how can you help yourself? Well, you need to vote for people who are going to repeal and replace the long-term plan. And John and I certainly, we're standing on that platform. We believe that's the most important issue facing the city at the moment. If the long-term plan is not repealed and replaced, and the works program cancelled as much as possible, then that works program and the long-term plan are going to become a bottomless financial pit. In my opinion, hundreds of millions of dollars are being wasted on the Te Papa Peninsula because the problem there was wrongly analysed by the commissioners. Ann Tolley has bought into Scott Adams' argument that previous council underinvestment was the problem. Well, that's completely wrong. The truth is that the free market ruled on the Te Papa Peninsula, and there's no longer a demand for a large CBD. Technology, geography, and ward shopping centres made the Tauranga CBD redundant, and no matter how much money is poured into the Tauranga CBD, nothing will change this fact. And it is essential that we take the control of the city back off the Urban Task Force led by Scott Adams and put it in the hands of community-minded people to stop this wastage of funds and put the city on the right direction and carry out essential projects that need to be carried out and save the ratepayers from 164% rate increase over the next 10 years and the city debt increasing from $1 billion to $3 billion over the next 10 years. So now John's going to talk about the financial cost, but just before I finish, I want you to think about the human cost. Think about the retailers of Cameron Road and the Te Papa CBD, people who have been forced to close their businesses, people who have had to move. I had a gentleman ring me up from the Tauranga CBD, and he said he'd had a business there for many decades. He was in a fortunate position because he had the money to move, but it was going to cost him $500,000 to move. He was only getting, I can't remember, I think it was something like 13 or 14 people in the door a day, and that wasn't enough. There have been real victims of the Commissioners' reign. There will still be more victims because of what they've done, but it is important, as I said, that we elect people who are going to change that plan, take the city back from the Urban Task Force, and produce a far better plan that is both sensible and affordable. Thank you.